Welcome in here to VSiN at the track. I am Mike Somich. He is Aaron Halterman, and we are presented by FirstBet.com. VSiN at the track brought to you by FirstBet, the official horse racing sponsor of VSiN. We officially have Kentucky Derby points on the line, Aaron. Always one of the weirdest weekends for me because we transition from Del Mar, from Saratoga, from Breeders' Cup Prep to the 2-year-olds, because we do have races from Churchill Downs this week. The first Kentucky Derby Prep points on the line. Are you ready to talk some Derby?
No, I'm not, but I am ready to talk about these races that they call Derby races that usually don't produce much, so that's good as far as that goes. No, look, we got the Iroquois and we've got the Pocahontas. They are Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oak prep races, right? But they kind of also are Breeders' Cup prep races, and I think that's the big thing to think about as well. These horses that'll win these races will go to the Breeders' Cup next, and then maybe we can talk about the Derby, but it is kind of cool that we already have it going.
Yeah, whether you're joining us here on Apple, Spotify, if you're over on the VSiN YouTube channel at VSiN Live, thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel so you make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure you rate and review so we can get to as many ears as possible here with VSiN at the track. Got a full show here today. We're going to talk about those Oaks and Derby prep races coming up from this weekend. We're going to talk about Brant, the Bob Baffert 2-year-old that we saw win the Del Mar Futurity. I've got some takes on Brant. Can't wait to talk about that one. Race previews from both Churchill Downs and Woodbine. We're going to talk a little bit of Kentucky Downs as well, takeaways from that meet. And, of course, we'll wrap this whole puppy up with the best bets. But let's start it out here with the return of Churchill Downs and the return of Derby and prep races. You mentioned it. Look, these aren't races that we expect to produce a Kentucky Derby winner in the Iroquois or a Kentucky Oaks winner in the Pocahontas. I do think these races matter moving forward, just because, like last year, the Street Sense, guess who won that race, Aaron? Little Horse ended up winning the Kentucky Derby. So that one mattered, but that also 2 turns down the line. These are 1-turn races. They're a little interesting just because you do have the points on the line, but you also have sprinters who are going to do very well here because it is 1 turn earlier in the 2-year-old season. So you mentioned this, and I think this is relevant to talk about. These races matter a little more for the Breeders' Cup and the juvenile and the juvenile fillies than necessarily they do for the Oaks and the Derby.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, once you get past the Breeders' Cup and then you start thinking about Kentucky Derby a little bit more. But yeah, it's going to matter a lot. This is they're 1-turn mile races, and we'll talk about it. We'll have a full breakdown. So, a 1-turn mile doesn't necessarily equate to a 1.25 miles, but it's getting closer to 1 1/16, and that's what the horses will run at the Breeders' Cup. So it's a little bit of a separator here, right? Not quite as big a separator if you're going 1 1/16, but you're starting to get the sprinters out of the way, kind of looking at the horses that want to go a little bit longer. And so that's why these races are really important because, there comes a time where you got to go one of 2 paths. You're going to go sprint and you're going to go 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs with your horses, or you're going to try it and you're going to go up to the 1 1/16 and then eventually to the 1 1/8 and 1 1/4. So that's the first step towards that. And look, also, I do think it's just a bit of fun, right, to look at it and go, hey, we do have Kentucky Derby prep race this weekend, and we can say that on the air, and it's not like crazy to say, right? So it adds a little bit of fun to it as well. But like I said, I mean, I don't think the winner of the Iroquois is going to win the Kentucky Derby. I think that's a crazy thought, but I guess crazier things have happened. Rich Strike won it one year, so I guess anybody can do it, right?
That's fair. I'll give you 50-1. The entire field. You can have every horse in the Iroquois. I'll give you 50-1 if you want it right now.
No.
No,
I'm not taking that, no.
I figured you might not want. VSiN at the track here, presented by FirstBet, the official horse racing partner of VSiN. And one of those FirstBet tracks that was running, well, it's not a FirstBet track, but in California, we've got Del Mar going on, and specifically the Del Mar Futurity, where Brant wins for Bob Baffert. And Brant was awesome on debut. Brant was very good in this race. He beat another Baffert, so you kind of want to rein in the expectations a little bit. But, oh boy, Aaron, what I noticed here is that this horse could be on a crew team because, man, does he like to paddle. If you watch the head-on replay, his hoof is way out there. Now, when paddling, for anyone who doesn't watch horse racing regularly, if you look at the head-on replay, specifically the inside hoof down the stretch, you'll see horses push that to the inside. It's wasted energy. It looks like it hurts, to be honest with you. You want to be more forward, and that generally means it's a better long-term prognostication for your career and for your ability to run fast. Brant doesn't have that. He's very fast. He's been very good through 2 races. How worried are you about this whole paddling thing that we saw? It really felt exposed as well during the Mar Futurity.
Well, look, I've seen paddlers before. I think about Essential Quality just a few years back, and he was kind of able to hold it together for a year and a half there and have a nice career and win a lot of big races. This is, like you said, it's the worst paddling I've ever seen for a horse that's really good. When you talk about Brant, Essential Quality would have it, and you really have to watch the head on to really notice it. But it was there, right? And Vekoma was a horse that kind of paddled a little bit as well. That's a good sire right now. So there's been really good horses that have that issue. Brant has it a little bit worse than anything I've seen at the major level. So that is a concern, right? And yeah, it usually leads to a horse not having that long of a career because, like you said, they just kind of end up getting a little bit injured. Nothing like serious or anything, but they battle little injuries. So you got to think that with him and kind of temper the expectations. The other thing about it is, and you said it, and you said it correctly, these Bob Baffert horses, they're doing very well as 2-year-olds the last few years when they're racing against other horses in their barn, basically. But when they try to develop into 3-year-olds and try to go against a tougher competition, they've had a lot of trouble the last couple of years. So that's an issue with him as well. But you're right. Go watch the head-on replay of this race, or if you can find it, and you can really just see, boy, that is a very unique thing. Paddling is not unique, but his severity is very kind of unique. And you would think, man, if this horse didn't have that issue, just how much better might he be, right?
Yeah, if you ever are going fishing and you need to turn in circles, just bring Brant with you because you'll just keep just throwing that paddle on one side the entire time. You'll be spinning like crazy. Look, we'll see Brant next in the Breeders' Cup, most likely, assuming that he is healthy and able to go there. There's no reason to expect he would not be. He'll face horses like Ned Toffee there from the East Coast as well. I'm just concerned long term. That's all I'm going to say. It is very, very aggressive, and so it's one of those things where I don't think the horse is not talented. I don't think that the horse, when he's entered in a race, is going to be competitive. I'm just worried we're not going to get a lot of Brant in our lives, Aaron, and that's a bummer because it is a very talented 2-year-old for the Bob Baffert barn. Now, before we go on to the race previews, we got to talk Little Kentucky Downs because we saw the meet end yesterday. And I would like to get your take on the overall Kentucky Downs meet before I drop my my little feelings about that meet.
Well, look, I think it was one of the better meets overall. I think when you look at what let's talk about things outside of the track for a second, then I'll bring it back to what happened on the track. You could watch a race and actually know where the horses are and actually could see your horses the entire race. So they had a new camera system. And if you don't really know about Kentucky Downs or you haven't ever watched it before, it's a very unique track, and it would be a very hard track to film and put on camera. And in the past meets, you really didn't know what was going on at all times, where now you really did. So they did. I'll give them a lot of credit there. I thought they did a good job there. Look, I think what happened on the track, I don't know, for you as well, I think it was one of your best, if not your best, Kentucky Downs meet, and I had a very good meet as well. And it just felt like you had bigger riders coming in, you had bigger trainers coming in, and a little bit better horse overall coming in race after race. And I think while you did have your long shots, it was a little bit easier to get to the long shots. And some of those shorter prices, they ran okay at this meet. So I don't like that the track was pretty biased towards speed. You want a fair track, usually. But look, they haven't had a lot of rain there, and it just played to speed, and you had to be towards the front, especially turning for home. So that was what it was. But overall, I loved the little meet this year.
I thought they did a great job upgrading the cameras. Kudos to you, Kentucky Downs. Excellent work. Very good. I'm not going to bash the track at all, because I think the track did everything they could. And it was a phenomenal meet. Lucky enough to hit a $25,000 pick 5, like the 4th day of the meet. And we talk about Kentucky Downs. The whole goal is to hit one ticket that's a big number, right? It's not something where, like, hey, you're going to really consistently knock those $800 pick 5s out of the park. No, these are massive fields. And you know what? I really enjoyed the meet for obviously financial reasons, but also because it was a very good meet from just a full field size perspective. We Denver really had to. There was a little bit of worry about taking some races or moving days, but for the most part, the turf course was very nice. I'm going to take this to a different perspective. Instead of bashing the tracks, I don't think it's the track's fault it was speed favoring. I have zero interest of playing horses back a lot of the winners at Kentucky Downs. We talked about this a couple of years ago where Kentucky Downs next out horses dominated turf courses because the level of the fields at Kentucky Downs was so good. I would be shocked if that happens this year because the level of bias on that racetrack was so heavy. If you were not within 2 lengths of the lead around the far turn, you had little to no chance to be able to win unless that race absolutely came back. And we saw maybe 5 races in the 7 days absolutely come back. I do think that you upgrade horses who closed at Kentucky Downs, and I think that you throw out horses that went gate to wire because you're going to see drastic price drops on some of these Kentucky Down winners because of the size of the purse and the level of the field where they got carried to the wire in the last 16th or 8th of a mile because you could not pass horses once they started going up the hill from that 8th of a mile to the 16th of a mile point. And because of that, I'm going to be specifically looking for horses that close ground to play and fade horses that went gate to wire there. And I think that's the best takeaway that I can have from this meet to try and project forward because I don't want to blindly play Kentucky Downs winners because this track was definitely helping some of these horses get home.
Yeah, there were several horses on the last 2 days. So they would be on the lead. They'd separate, get up about 3 lengths. They're literally gasping for air at the wire, but they were winning the race because that track was carrying them to the finish line. So, yeah, no, look, I agree with what you said. But you know what, though? We really didn't take it serious after it ended going forward as far as handicapped what happened on that track that much anyway. You know what I mean? It's just kind of it lives in its own world. And, again, that's not a knock on Kentucky Downs at all. It's just – the way that turf course is and how it's configured and everything, it's just its own thing. And so I'm with you, but I would be with you anyway, no matter what happens. I just don't take it serious as far as that specific data point when I look at horses going forward.
It's just interesting because Kentucky Downs is one of the, 3 years ago, I want to say, the first or second year of Kentucky Downs, everyone won leaving Kentucky Downs. Everyone. It was just like, if you were in a Kentucky Downs race, congratulations, you're in the winner's circle next race. Last year, it was atrocious. Like, no one won leaving Kentucky Downs. And so it's interesting to then forecast out, okay, what are we going to get this year, right? And as the purses have grown, you would think that you would get better fields so they would actually perform better, and it's been the opposite. So it's something that I'm going to keep an eye on here moving forward, specifically as these horses redisperse themselves to, Santa Anita, to Keeneland, to Belmont at the Big A, to Gulfstream, because they're going to spread out. We're going to see these Kentucky Downs horses all over the place because of the meet and how many trainers converge there. We're now going to see them deconverge, right? Spread out, go to these different tracks, and I will be following to see how they are doing. And if you're looking to bet any of those racetracks, why don't you head over to First Bet? It's the official horse racing partner of VSiN. First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet. It's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, play, show probabilities for each winner, so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. Right now, take advantage of their limited time offer, $250 sign-up bonus, which is more than you will find anywhere else on the interwebs right now. To claim that bonus, use promo code VSiN250. That's VSIN 250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. That's promo code VSiN250. Aaron, I had my daughter's first soccer game last Saturday. I was playing in a tournament on First Bet at Kentucky Downs. I was refereeing the soccer game. You know what I was able to do at halftime? I was able to throw in a daily double and then watch the race right there in the middle of the soccer field because you got the races in-app there over at First Bet as well. So make sure you check that out. Great way to degen it out when you're in the middle of a soccer field of 7-year-olds. All right, let's head over to the Iroquois Stakes at Churchill Downs. Let's take a look at the First Bet morning lines here. And when we scroll through, we're going to find a 6-5 favorite in Comport, Aaron. And we've seen favorites in the Iroquois not do so great over the years. What's your take here on Comport? Is this a good favorite or a favorite that you're looking to fade?
All right. Father of the Year, Mike Somich, kicks it over to me. Congratulations on that award.
I was repping the game.
Okay,
Only did it at half.
Yeah. There's no way. Okay. I know exactly what you were doing. You don't have to lie to me. You were on your First Bet app the whole game. So it wasn't just halftime, folks. But anyway, all right, let's talk about racing.
We're quarter breaks, too.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, all right, let's go to the Iroquois here. Like you said, you're right. Favorites haven't done very well here in the past, but I think the favorite's going to do very well here in this race. I'm going to go with a little bit of a price in the Pocahontas, but in the Iroquois, I just don't know how you get around the number 7 Comport in this race. Broke the maiden nicely on debut and then was a pretty good second in the Bashford Manor. The last time out stretched out to 7 furlongs in the Ellis Park Juvenile. Got the job done by 2 lengths. Really impressive. Really like the running style of this horse as well. Can get out towards the front. Doesn't absolutely have to have the lead, but can grab it if nobody goes. That 7 furlong race going 1 turn now to 8 furlongs, which is the flat mile at 1 turn. I think that equates pretty well in this situation. I just think he's a little bit better than these runners. I do have an interest in a couple of long shots perhaps, but on top, I do think number 7 Comport is going to be pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, look, Comport's the best horse in the race. Comport should be the favorite. You're probably not getting 6-5, so I'm not betting Comport to win. Probably somewhere in the 4-5 range. If you want to put Comport on top of 2 horses in the trifecta or 3 in the superfecta, I don't hate it because there are a lot of prices here, and I don't think Spice Runner is like the number 5 who's 7-2, your second choice in the morning line, is just far and away the second best horse in this race. I looked at 2 separate long shots. First one I want to mention is the number 8, Vost, Florent Giroux here. William Walden, who has just been training his tail off. He's 31 for 120 this year, 26%. So doing very, very good. He ships this horse in, and the buyer comes back low, the time form comes back low. I get all of that. This horse debuted at 7 furlongs, breaking from the rail of 11 horses. You know what's really hard to do, Aaron? Win going 7 furlongs the first time breaking from the rail with 11 horses. This horse is able to come from off the pace, be very professional in doing so. A little bit of interest in Voice at 12-1. But my top pick here is going to be the number 1, Nothing Personal. Sired by one of my favorite sires, Violence for Yo's Magic Mike crew. $270,000 purchase. Violence stands for $30,000. So there was a lot that they thought of this horse. I thought the debut at Colonial was absolutely electric. They went 22-1, 44-2, and Nothing Personal was not far off that pace. Okay, so 2 lengths off the half-mile point. Then absolutely just runs away from the rest of this field. Draws off, win by 8 3/4 lengths. And Antrax, the horse who ran second, comes back to win impressively off that as well. I wish we didn't draw the rail, but from a buyer perspective and a time form perspective, this is the horse that's actually not far off. Got a 76 buyer on that debut. Comport's best numbers in 80. Second out, you expect a horse to improve. I'm getting 8-1 on the rail here as well on Nothing Personal. So I'm going to go to the rail. Give me the number 1 Nothing Personal here at a decent price, Aaron. Was that one of the numbers you were looking at, or did you have a different price horse you liked?
Yeah, I have 3 of them, and you covered 2 of them. I do like Nothing Personal quite a bit. You got to kind of, decide, okay, am I going to trust that form coming from Colonial Downs down to Churchill Downs? But I think you can because it was an 8 3/4 length victory, right? So I don't think, it didn't squeak out a win there. Number did come back pretty strong. So I'm with you on number 1, Nothing Personal. I really like number 8, Vost as well. And I think this is a horse. You watched a replay last time out. Just kind of blew the brake, right? Just didn't get out of the gate very well, had all kinds of trouble, got way behind and was able to just, close up and get the job done. And that was at 7 furlongs. And again, I do think, look, it does equate 7 furlongs to 8 furlongs pretty well. So I'm with you there. One more, I think you could kind of take a flyer on here, at least underneath. What about the number 4, So Special? This horse trained by Kenny McPeek, gets Brian Hernandez aboard, and it's a classic Kenny McPeek horse this time of year. Been on the turf a couple times, right? Ran at a mile on the turf and got second, and then broke the maiden last time out going a mile and a 16th. And now he just throws the horse in here on the dirt for the first time. Horse does have a decent enough dirt pedigree. And like I said, you see Kenny McPeek do this all the time where early in their career, they'll be on the dirt, then they'll be on the turf, then they'll go to synthetic, and then they're back to the dirt. So I do think at 10-1, this horse makes a little bit of sense. I think this is a decent enough horse. So I thought the number 4, So Special, is another one to take a look at here.
Yeah, Kenny McPeek seems to win one of these races every year at a ridiculous price. 10-1 might not be long enough for Kenny McPeek to get the win here, so we'll see if that number is big enough. I thought the 4 was interesting as well. I agree with you. I think that the dirt breeding is fine. You mentioned Vekoma in our family of paddlers a little bit earlier. Vekoma, very good sire. It's gotten off to a very, very good job. They're both on dirt and turf. This horse is one going long. That's something that no other horse in this field can say. That may matter when we get to the finish line on Saturday over at Churchill Downs. The number 7 Comport for Aaron, 6-5 on the morning line. Give me the number 1, Nothing Personal, 8-1. Both a little interested in the prices. The number 4, So Special, as well as the number 8 Voice there. So Special, 10-1. Voiced, 12-1. Before we move on, real quick, Spice Runner. Any interest? Steve Asmussen, Jose Ortiz, second choice in the morning line, 7-2. I didn't like this horse very much.
I don't like this horse at the price at all. Really no excuse in my opinion. Last time out, got second to the top choice Comport and really wasn't competitive. 2 races back, really wasn't competitive either. Love the breeding. I just don't love this horse in this spot at this price. And look, it's tough connections to throw out because Asmussen has success obviously, and Jose Ortiz is riding about as good as anybody. But I just from a horse standpoint, I don't think there's enough there.
Yeah, the fact that this horse, I don't think this horse, well, it should stretch out well, but we've seen gun runners kind of do better a little bit later in their career at certain points as well. The price is what kept me off this horse at 7-2. The fact that Jose left this horse, they run this horse in a stakes race, doesn't run that well. Now we're getting back to it. I would much rather take a shot with a bigger number than go back to Spice Runner, who's, the last race was good, but it was also the third race in the cycle, and I don't know how much improve there's going to be there. That's the Grade 3 Iroquois, race number 8 from Churchill Downs on Saturday. Number 7, Comport for Aaron. Number 1, nothing personal for me. Let's move forward to the Pocahontas here, race number 6 on the card on Saturday. We've got 7 fillies headed postward, and we look at the first bet morning line here. Our favorite is going to be 2-1, Dazzling Dame, the number 6 horse for Brittany Russell. Luis Saez aboard. Aaron, you going to this Dazzling Dame? Or you going somewhere else?
No, I'm going somewhere else in this one, and I'm going to go to Kenny McPeek again. I mentioned him a little bit in the Iroquois. Well, I'm going to go on top here. Number 5, Our Two Girls is going to be my top pick in this one. Now, Kenny McPeek has 2 in the race. Irad Ortiz rides the 3, taken by the win. Brian Hernandez will ride the 5. My top pick, Our Two Girls. Brian Hernandez is actually the main rider. So even though Irad Ortiz is a little bit more of the nationally known successful guy, Hernandez is McPeak's guy, right? So I'll trust that. I loved the race last time out. 6 furlong maiden debut at Ellis Park. I thought ran very well. Won by 2 1/4, and I thought would look like a horse that had a little bit of a future, for her, a positive future, a bright future. Try to find the right word there, but anyway, I just really like the race, and I think the horse projects pretty decently here on the stretch out. I think on the bottom side, on the dam side, it looks like a horse that can definitely get a mile. So. I was impressed with the debut. I'm going to go Kenny McPeek here, number 5, Our Two Girls on top.
Oh, look at us agreeing. I'm going to take the same horse here, the number 5, Our Two Girls, 6-1 on top. All the reasons you mentioned, I think this sets up very well. The favorite on the number 6 horse, Dazzling Dame, wants the lead. The number 7, Embrace the Moment. Going to make that very hard. We'll talk about Embrace the Moment here shortly, as that's who I have in second in this race. But the number 5, Our Two Girls, wants to come from just off the pace, shows tactical speed, and then was able to close into that pace and get the win first time out at Ellis. Caravaggio, very good early sire returns on Caravaggio. That's the father here of Our Two Girls. You got Curlin on the bottom side, which means the distance shouldn't be an issue. And you mentioned it. Brian Hernandez Jr. is the top jockey for the McPeak barn. So even though Irad Ortiz is on the 3, taken by the wind, I'm more interested in the 5, Our Two Girls. Taken by the wind also debuted in a 75 maiden optional claimer that was supposed to be a turf race at 1.16 mi, and now we're going into a stakes race. Lot going on there for me, so that's not necessarily one of them that I want to just jump in and fire at it. So going to go a different direction there in the Pocahontas. I do like the 5, Our Two Girls. Did you look at the 7, Embrace the Moment at all, who I think is the speed of the speed here in this spot?
Yeah, and I'm with you on that, and that's Embrace the Moment. I couldn't agree more. It's a big reason why I didn't take Dazzling Dame, because I just feel like there's going to be a speed duel, and you look at what Our Two Girls could do, and even taken by the wind a little bit to do. I think they'll be off of it a little bit and have a chance to close in. Yeah, look, I watched the replay last time out. This horse had a lot of hype. The on debut last time out was 2-5, so that tells you that people, the word was kind of out, and ran to it, ran okay, right? And so I'm with you. I think takes the lead. I also think the number 2, Miscomplicated, is kind of interesting as well. That's the horse that lost to Our Two Girls last time out. This horse is still a maiden, but that's another one, Mike, I think is going to have a nice little setup. Last time out came from way out of it. I don't think she's going to come from way out of it here. I think she's going to be more like middle of the pack. I think that speed sets up really good for the number 2, Miscomplicated, as well.
Yeah, that's the interesting part about that race, right? Like, you go back to Miss Complicated's debut at Churchill Downs. This horse attended a 22-1 pace, and then you go to that Ellis Park race, and we're last in a 22-4 pace.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, how is that? Oh, wait, you just completely missed the break, and then that kind of changed your overall style. I don't think Miss Complicated's that far back. If I'm looking for someone to come from off the pace, I actually like the 4 Joke Maker, who is 12-1 on the morning line a little bit here. Found it interesting that John Velasquez rode this horse at Indiana Grand on debut, and this horse was bet down to favoritism. Rudolph Brissett puts this one in as a maiden as well. He's not usually overly aggressive with his horses, so thought the 4 was a little bit interesting too. This is a wide open race. I mean, we haven't even talked about the favorite, Dazzling Dame, which we should probably do that at some point, since she is 2-1 here. She is 2 for 2 in her career. Looked very good at Laurel Park. That was a state-bred maiden special weight for the fillies. Was a little bit over even money, 6-5 in a 4-horse field. So let's grain of salt across the board here. State-bred 4-horse field, heavy favorite. Comes back in the sorority, wins a 6-horse field going gate to wire. I wasn't really impressed with either of these races. I wasn't impressed with who she faced. I wasn't impressed with the times. I wasn't impressed with the numbers, and I don't really want to play her at 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad spot for Dazzling Dame. I think it's a horse that, like you said, that Laurel race was kind of just a joke where she broke the maiden, and then the Monmouth race kind of was as well, honestly. So I don't really know how good this horse actually is, and really nobody does because this hasn't faced anything. I will say, like, won nicely. Like, it wasn't close. She wasn't all out to get the job done. She did win at the distance last time out at Monmouth, so that's important as well. But I'm kind of with you. It's just like, I just think there's better horses in this race. I don't think she's going to get loose on the lead. I think she's in for a little bit of a different situation here. Like I said, Laurel Park and Monmouth, those are not bad tracks, but they're definitely kind of B to C level tracks where now you get to Churchill Downs, which is an A level track. And look, that doesn't mean she can't come over here and win. It just means she's going to have to be better than she was in the last 2 races, even though she won them both. And so the flip side of it is, Mike, like you talked about, this is kind of a mess of a race. 3 of these horses in here are still maidens. And we kind of talked about a couple that we thought may have a chance, even though they're maidens. So it does kind of tell you it's not a bad spot for a horse trying to, move up in class, but I still think Dazzling Dame too short of a price for me.
All right, I want to argue with you on one thing. It has nothing to do with this race. So we'll wrap this race up, and then I'm going to argue with it. So number 5, our 2 girls, Aaron, in the Pocahontas, 6-1 on the morning line. Number 5, our 2 girls for Mike, 6-1 on the morning line there in the Pocahontas. Churchill Downs is a C-level track, and maybe you can give it a B. Maybe. It is definitely not an A. Churchill Downs is not close to Keeneland, Saratoga, Del Mar, which are the only 3 A's in America. It's not even. It's an A, maybe 2 days a year, maybe. Outside of that, it is C to D+ level racing.
Are you talking about Churchill Downs as like a facility, or are you talking about the racing on the track?
Both. I'm not a big fan of Churchill Downs, if you can't tell.
I don't like Churchill Downs at all as far as going to Churchill Downs. And people, I tell people that, and I'm sure you do as well, and they're like, that's really weird because
it seems almost sacrilegious, yeah.
Right. It's like, that's the place. No, it really sucks. But I think the racing is pretty good on the track. I can't go that it's a C level, a talent level on the track. I think it's pretty good day in and day out.
All right, I'll give it a B. I will allow it to be in the B level with like Gulfstream and the better version of Belmont, the Big A/Belmont, the better version of Santa Anita. Right. I'll let it play in that pool, but it doesn't even come close to Keeneland, to Saratoga, to Del Mar. Like it is a far reach from that outside of the major days, where you do have some very good major days. But guess what? You have good major days everywhere, right? Florida Derby Day at Gulfstream Park is as good as a lot of those, Clark Day at Churchill Downs and all that jazz. So anyway, end my Churchill Down rant there. And if you're looking for more hot takes, head over to VSiN Pro, right? Don't forget, your edge for VSiN Pro is in both horse racing and sports. Try it for just $9.99 for your first month. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe to see all of the different subscription options there, from a full season to just 1 month. You can get everything you need over at VSiN.com/subscribe, including the NFL guide and the college football guide. Mike, why are those still relevant? Because guess what? You don't know everyone who went everywhere in college football. I don't know everyone who went everywhere in college football. You can still check those out as you're betting them and see who all the experts liked in the preseason in the NFL, as well with the 2.0 guide that came out just a couple weeks ago. Now, Aaron, let's head over. Well, let's head north, I should say, north of the border at least, to Woodbine up in Toronto, Canada here. They have got a big day on Saturday, and we'll start with the Woodbine Mile here. We've got the first bet morning lines for the Woodbine Mile out, and this one is going to go to the number 2 horse, Notable Speech. This is the 9th race on Saturday. Guess what? They're going a mile on the turf course in the Woodbine Mile. And the number 2, Notable Speech, 8-5 on the morning line. Charlie Appleby, William Buick, both of them ship in from Europe here. Who you going on top?
Yeah, I'm going to be really boring in here and just take the number 2 Notable Speech on top. It is really tough to beat Charlie Appleby when Buick comes over, and it is really tough at Woodbine to beat that pair. And this is a really good horse. You know, he's had some trouble winning races, but he's been in much, much tougher races than this lately overseas, whether it be Newmarket or Ascot, all the big-time places he's been. He came over last year, nearly won the Breeders' Cup Mile, got beat by less than a length in that spot. And look, that day, it was like, that was kind of disappointing. I thought it would be better than that, right? And that just tells you kind of the level that I kind of think this horse is at. No offense to the rest of these horses, Mike, but I just think if Notable Speech shows up, I'm sorry. I just don't think he gets beat in this spot.
You're not wrong. Like, I wanted to bet. I don't like betting favorites. I think if you've listened to this show before, you realize I am not someone who enjoys betting 8-5 shots. Notable Speech should be shorter than 8-5. Probably be closer to like 4-5 in this race. We've seen Notable Speech one time in North America, and that one time ran very well. We ended up running 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile, or the Breeders' Cup Mile, not the Turf Mile, because the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But in the Breeders' Cup Mile, ran 3rd to More Than Looks and Johannes. Johannes was running at Del Mar, which is a track that horse absolutely loves. More Than Looks has been phenomenal. Notable Speech was the favorite in that race, ended up losing by 3/4 of a length and was flying home and just kind of got denied late. Has run in Group 1s ever since, 4 back-to-back Group 1s over in Europe. Finished in the top 5 in each of those, is yet to get a win. Lost to Diego Velasquez last time out. It was a very, very good horse over in Europe. I think it's going to be really tough to beat the number 2 Notable Speech. So I will have the 2 Notable Speech on top as well. But I do want to mention a little bit of a price that I'm going to play underneath in the exacta. That is the number 8 Win for the Money here. It's a horse from Mark Casse that, look, won this race last year. Ran a career best effort at this track in this race last year, and I think is probably coming into this race in better form. I felt like we were a little bit over our head in the Kelso, which is a grade 3, and then the 4-star Dave, a grade 1 at Saratoga. Those were very good fields. We talked about Intellect a lot. That horse, I think, is very good. We've talked about Think Big. That horse ran huge in the Kelso to get a win. I thought Deterministic literally ran a career best effort to win the 4-star Dave, and Win for the Money was behind those 4 horses in those 2 races. I don't see any of those horses in here outside of Notable Speech. So I like the 2-8 as a cold exact. I'll play a little bit reversed, but I will have a heavy 2-8 cold exacta here, Aaron.
I mean, we're seeing it the same. That's who I've gotten second. The number 8 Win for the Money, and it's exactly what you said. I thought the Kelso and 4-star Dave were very good races. And like you said, this horse was 3rd in both of them. Now, was he threatening to win either one of them? No, he wasn't. But like you said, other than Notable Speech, this is, to me, is a class drop big time for Win for the Money. I don't see those type of horses in this race, like I said, other than the favorite. You can't get by. So I'm with you on the 8. I do want to mention the 9, Gas Me Up. I like this horse quite a bit. I had a nice ticket on him last time out in the King Edward, able to get the job done. Yeah, this is a win machine. Won 3 out of the last 4 races. Got Flavian Pratt aboard last time out for that win that I just referenced, which was the biggest win of his career. Look, tougher competition here, no doubt about it, right? But I do love that Flavian Pratt is back aboard. I think the number 9, Gas Me Up, will have a little bit of say in things as well. Maybe it's just an underneath horse. I know the price isn't as, flashy as Win for the Money, but I think 5-1 is a decent enough number on Gas Me Up.
Yeah, the 8 Win for the Money, 8-1, the 9 Gas Me Up, 5-1. My issue is has to run the career best effort to run second, right? We need to improve off of those last races. Now, this is a 5-year-old who's only run 8 times and had a almost 2-year layoff between 2022 and 2024, and then had a full year layoff between 2024 and 2025. So we often talk about like the limited upside with some older horses. I do think Gas Me Up still has upside because of the number of races that you've seen, and obviously getting Flavian Pratt, never a bad thing over the turf course. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my boy Prince, whose name is my boy Prince, the number 6 horse, 10-1 on the morning line for Gary Barber. This is a Woodbine specialist. 4 races over this turf course, 1 win, 2 seconds. Was 6th last year in the Woodbine Mile, but I thought got just a brutal trip. So I kind of feel like you can cross that one out. Went to New York. I thought ran really well in the Jaipur, ran well in the Elusive Quality. The 4-star Dave was only a nose behind Win for the Money after setting the pace, and it was a very fast pace that day, and they came home very quickly, so not a shameful performance there at all. Going this 1 mile distance today. Any interest in my boy Prince? Do you think that he can stick around and get a piece?
Yeah, I do. I'm with you kind of on your thinking. He kind of is very similar to Win for the Money. I think he could just get out to the front and maybe, hold on for 3rd or 4th. I think that's kind of who he has been, in most of these races against the better horses, right? So look, they've done some weird things with this horse. Like he was in the King's Plate and almost got the job done, and then they took him immediately to the turf and put him at a mile. Then they sprinted him, and he kind of almost looked better sprinting. So I don't know if the mile's really his best thing or not. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, he's classy. He's classy. He's been in tough races. So could he hold on for a piece of it? I definitely think so.
This is a horse that probably should have been at Kentucky Downs. Let's just be honest. Like my
6.5
going a mile at Kentucky Downs would have been so ideal because it's a 6.5 furlong turf sprinter that can get the mile that would be forward in that race. Like I don't know why this horse wasn't at Kentucky Downs with those purses. That was a whiff. Connections. Maybe do that next time, Mark Cassie and Gary Barber. All right, got to mention the 3-horse, 1 stripe here before we move on. Grand Motion, John Velasquez is going to ride. This horse has run 9 times. All of those are in South Africa. Yes, when you look at your past performances and you see capital S, capital A, lowercase f, that is South Africa. This horse is dominated down there. 6 wins, 1 second in those 9 efforts. How do you handicap this type of race with this type of horse? Because let's be honest, clearly the best horse in all of those races. 5-2 seems a little short because this is now facing the best in the world, not the best in South Africa, which is not exactly a robust racing environment. What do you make of the 3-horse, and any interest in backing here?
When they come over from there, it's just always a prove it to me. I got to see one here. Now if this horse comes out and wins, okay, next time that's when I'll consider. But I don't take. It's not that I don't take it serious. I just don't know how it equates. When they come over from Europe, you've got a great idea. When they come over from South Africa, it is definitely hit or miss, and a lot of times it's miss. So I am not going to play this horse. I'm not going to use the horse. We'll see a race. We'll see what happens. I just can't trust the form until I see it.
If this was 20-1, we're a different conversation, Fair. Right? Because Motion, very good. First time North America. It's why the horse is getting bet. John Velasquez, very good jockey. Can get some prices home. 5-2, show me, right? Prove it to me. You got to beat me at 5-2 here. Woodbine Mile, race number 9 at Woodbine. $1 million race over the Woodbine turf course going, shocker, 1 mile. Number 2 notable speech for Aaron. Number 2 notable speech for me. I am going to play a cold 2-8 exacta, and I will play a 2 over 6-8 trifecta as well. See if we can get my boy Prince and Win for the Money home there in 2nd and 3rd. Moving back in time here to the 6th race, the Grade 1 Summer, $500,000 on the inner turf course going 1 mile for 2-year-olds here, Aaron. Tough race when you look through this and you check out the first bet morning line here. 5-2 is your favorite. Wild Desert, who, much like a race we talked about earlier, shipped over from Europe. Charles Appleby, William Buick to ride. What do you take here with Wild Desert? This one, you're open and shut with this Godolphin runner, or are you looking somewhere else?
Yeah, look, I hate to do it again, but I'm going to go Appleby and Buick with Wild Desert. You're not as confident. There isn't that long list of what this horse has done, but you go back and watch the replays, those 2 races that were stakes that the horse got 2nd, just barely beaten, and got 3rd, beaten a length and a half. They just looked better than what we've got over here right now. So it's Wild Desert for me on top. I do like that horse quite a bit. I will say, the more I handicap this thing, I almost went with a long shot, the number 12 Teddy's Rocket, but it was a couple things that just kept me away. Number one is I just think Wild Desert's going to be the goods, and I have a lot of respect for Appleby. Number two, it's the 12-hole with Joel Rosario aboard. I don't know about that with Teddy's Rocket. I just feel like you're going to have to work out a trip. He's not a horse that likes to go to the front. He's not a horse that really likes to go to the back. I mean, it just has like 7 wide screamed all over it here. I have a lot of respect for Miguel Clement as a trainer. I think he's doing a great job. I went back and watched this maiden special weight win. I liked it from Teddy's Rocket. I think this is a decent horse. Maybe not today, but at 12-1, I was pretty interested in that one. So kind of the same strategy. I like the number 10 Wild Desert on top as the favorite. I'm going to try to play a long shot with Teddy's Rocket underneath.
Yeah, see, I wish I wish you just gave out your winner, because then I could have talked about the number 12 Teddy's Rocket, who I am going to put on top.
Aaron.
Oh, geez. This is the reason. I don't want 5-2 on Wild Desert, who I think was impressive over in Europe. You're right. You watch those replays. Good horse. Should be fine here. Like, not knocking it at all. Should be your favorite. But probably getting bet, right? 7-5, somewhere in that range. Yep. Maybe 6-5 in a 12-horse field of 2-year-olds. First time in North America. A lot can go wrong, especially going 2 turns. Yeah, I like the 12, Teddy's Rocket here. I agree with you. I am scared of Rosario. I am scared of the outside post. I am getting the price to not be as afraid of it, though, and that to me is part of the key here. If Teddy's Rocket is on the board at 4-1, 5-1 when we're betting this race, I will not be betting a win bet. If we're sitting there at 10 to 12-1, the talent is there, and you mentioned this race at Saratoga. I thought it was wildly impressive. 7-horse field. This is your 7-horse. So we break from the outside going a mile at Saratoga, which, by the way, you have less run into the first turn than here at Woodbine. And this horse was basically wide the entire time, had a trip that just you don't really want because you never save an inch of ground. It's so important to save ground at Saratoga when you're going 2 turns, and yet very professional effort here from Teddy's Rocket. If you look at the time, they came home fast. I mean, they went 24:48, so 12s heading to the half-mile point, 1:12-2 to 6 furlongs, 1:35-4 to the come home for a mile. So that means Teddy's Rocket ran 23-2 for the final 2 furlongs of this race, final quarter of a mile. That is very fast for a 2-year-old that has been hung wide on 2 turns going a mile. I thought that was really impressive. Willing to take the shot here, even though not my favorite jock in the irons here in Joel Rosario. But I do love Miguel Clement as well. I think he's done a phenomenal job taking over for his late father. So the number 12, Teddy's Rocket, 12-1 for me. I do like the rail horse, the number 1 Argos as well, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention this horse. 8-1, Flavian Pratt, Riley Mott. Riley Mott, by the way, Bill Mott's son here, underrated trainer in my mind. I think he can get a horse ready to go on the racetrack. Draws Flavian Pratt for the 2nd straight race. Go back and watch that Woodbine race. I didn't really love the trip for Argos. I thought that a couple things could have gone a little bit better for him. Ends up missing 2nd place by a neck there. I think the stretch out's a positive. This is a horse that should love the added distance. Nyquist on the top, Acclamation on the bottom. Both of them want to stretch out. I love the improvement from first start to second start. If this horse takes another step forward, I think Argos is as legit as anybody else in this field, and you're getting 8-1 on the rail.
I looked at Argos for a while as well. I do like that horse, and I'm with you. It's kind of cool. You know, you had Christophe Clement and Bill Mott. They were kind of the big 2, and now Miguel Clement and Riley Mott, who are kind of the new up and comers here. So it's really cool to see that happen. And I'm with you. I want to mention the quote unquote other European shipper. I thought the number 4, the Secret Adversary, that's an interesting horse as well. That horse has been up against tough company. Always seems to run pretty darn well. Doesn't have the greatest resume in the world. But again, you watch those races, it's like, man, those are some decent horses that horse has been up against. So I thought he was interesting as well in this spot. Getting a lot better price. I think 6-1 on the morning line might float up a little bit because I do think Argos, Teddy's Rocket, 2 Out Hero, the 5 horse, they'll take a little bit of money, of course, with the favorite as well. So I think you'll get every bit of that. I don't know. I just feel like this is a horse that, you know, won last time out, gets to Torrey to ride here, which on the turf, I still think that's an okay thing. I had a lot of interest in the 4 as well. It's price dependent. You know, if the horse takes money, maybe I'm not as excited. But if we get 6-8-1 on that horse, I think it might be worth a little bit of a play.
So I looked at the Secret Adversary here a little bit. Best time form number was the first race. That's a little concerning to me. The race 2-pack, 15 cents on the dollar in a field of 5 and lost. That's a little concerning to me. I also, and this is just me, I don't like speed horses from Europe coming to the U.S. for the first time. You're just not as fast, and so when you have a horse like the Secret Adversary, who is led in the first race, was prominent the entire second race, in touch the third and the fourth race. I don't want that style of a European horse. I want the deep closer from Europe, because the one thing I trust is that the U.S. racing is going to be faster early on, and that makes it harder for a European horse to attend the pace and then be able to run well. So I don't like the running style of the four, and that was the main reason I left that one out. P.S. When we get to the Breeders' Cup, that is a big thing for me, especially sprinting. I want the off-the-pace sprinters in Europe, not the speed sprinters. And that we saw two of them win last year, one in the juvenile sprint and then one in the turf sprint, both of them coming from off the pace, both of them. And you could have thrown out every horse in Europe that showed speed. This is a speed horse from Europe. That's just, for me, a play against in this type of spot.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. And what he kind of getting at there, it's just a little bit slower out of the gate. It's a little bit slower to get going over in Europe. We're here, we're gunning out a lot, right? So that is kind of the thing. I think with this horse, it's just a situation of, I just kind of feel like, and I'm with you, the race 2 back was not, that's disappointing, right? But I don't know. I just feel like this horse is getting a little better. I know the time for numbers say something different. I think he's getting a little better. I just would be sneaky. He's sneaky. Because I really think he's going to get ignored, and I don't think he's going to come over here and run poorly. I think when they turn for home, this horse is going to be around. I'll put it that way.
I don't disagree. I think he'll be relevant. You can't Field of 5 is a 15-cent favorite and you lose. That's a problem for me. When then you're like, hey, you know what? Let's jump into a $500,000 grade 1. What could possibly go wrong? We'll see. We'll see what happens there with the number 4, the Secret Adversary. Any interest in Two Out Hero? You mentioned this horse, your second choice on the board, 3-1. Best horse, or best race, I should say, from the U.S. or Canadian contingent that last time out in the Soar Free. Any interest in Two Out Hero since we didn't talk about this one?
Look, 2 races, 2 wins. There's nothing you can really kind of, get mad about on the when you look at and handicap the horse or pick through. But it's just one of those deals for me. It's like I have more interest in Teddy's Rocket. I have more interest in Argos, and the 4, the Secret Adversary we just talked about, and they're bigger prices, right? And so that's kind of the thing. If I'm going to play Wild Desert, I just can't get Two Out Hero involved unless I'm going to just go hammer straight 10-5 exacta, boom. And I'm not that confident in Two Out Hero to do that, so I want to spread out and take some prices instead. So I'm not going to sit here on Saturday evening and be shocked if the 5 wins this race at all, but just for me and for a wagering standpoint, I just think there's other horses you could play that are better prices.
Yeah, I'll leave Two Out Hero out of the multi-race bets. I'll use the 1-11-12 or 1-10-12 here in multi-race wagers. I do think Two Out Hero is the second most likely winner. I think the morning line is absolutely correct on the 3-1. Just not a horse that I want to include, because I'd rather have Wild Desert, who's your favorite, and then take some shots with prices, the 1 Argos and the 12s. Teddy's Rocket, that is the Grade 1 Summer Race number 6 from Woodbine on the Saturday card. As always, we got to wrap up VSiN at the Track with our best bets. And if you want to get these bets in, head over to VSiN at the Track's presenting sponsor. We're brought to you by FirstBet.com, the official horse racing partner of VSiN. Use promo code VSiN250 to get a $250 bonus when you sign up and bet our best bets over at firstbet.com. Make sure you use promo code VSiN250. Aaron, you're starting us out on Friday after going 2 for 2 last week. Golf clap for Aaron. Good job. Now pressure's on. I went 2 for 2 2 weeks ago. You went 2 for 2 last week. Haven't had the 4 for 4 weekend yet. We still got to put that on the board. But let's talk about your first best bet here. Head over to Gulfstream Park on Friday. Race number 9, that good old $20,000 mile claimer on the turf, Aaron.
This is kind of your race, isn't it? This is what you love to do because you're sick, right? But anyway, so I'm going to go Gulfstream Park race number 9, the number 1 Irdio, I guess is how you would say that, Irdio. Anyway, 2 races back, went 8 furlongs and a $35,000 claimer here on the turf and got the job done. But that was back on 6/29. Had a little bit of a layoff. Basically ran last time out in what I think was a prep race for this one. Went 5 furlongs on the synthetic surface there at Gulfstream Park. Got second, beaten 2 1/4. Not really worried about that though. I think this is kind of the race they were targeting. Try to get this horse back to form last time out. Now we're back at the mile, back at 8 furlongs on the turf here. $20,000 claiming. I think this is a really, really nice spot for this horse. So give me Gulfstream Park Race 9. Give me the number 1 to kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, it has about 6 races on the page that wins this one. You just have to hope you throw up any of them. Only issue here, the price, 8 to 5 on the morning line. You're probably getting closer to even money, but a very likely winner there, Gulfstream Park, race number 9. Number 1, Iroquois. Well, we'll go with that. Over at Gulfstream Park on Friday's card. Fast forward to Saturday, race number 3 from Churchill Downs, $50,000 N2L claimer. This is where my first best bet of the day is coming, and I'm going to go with Atara. William Walden, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Been very, very good as a trainer, 26% on the year. He is taking this horse and throwing it back on dirt after 2 efforts over the turf course at Keeneland and Saratoga. Those are 1 mile and 16th and a mile. The races prior to that were at Fairgrounds, going 6 furlongs in both of those efforts. I thought the dirt races were better than the turf races, even though we did win one of the turf races going gate to wire. So for me, we are getting back to the better surface. I like the fact we're going 7 instead of 6 because you also have a more fit horse after going 2 turns twice. So I think everything lines up here for Atara, who also is probably your fastest horse. Like, there is not a speed burner here, which is rare. Usually at Churchill Downs, you've got someone who wants to go straight to the lead and try and take off. Atara doesn't have to face that in race number 3. So give me the number 4 horse, Atara. 3 to 1 on the morning line. Race number 3, Churchill Downs on Saturday. Aaron, you're headed to race number 7 for your second best bet. I knew you'd pick this race. I'm surprised the horse you picked, though.
Really? Well, okay. Well, race 7, I'm going to go with the number 2, Alpine Princess, to win this one for Brad Cox. 2 to 1 on the morning line here. Not the favorite, but I just looked at this horse. I think this is a really, really nice spot for this horse to get the job done. Has 15 races overall, has 5 wins on the resume. I mean, it's kind of a consistent horse, always kind of around it, even when she doesn't win. She's kind of around. 2 races back, was able to win a race at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Last time out was 3rd, but only beaten a length in a pretty similar race to this at Ellis Park. I love that Irad Ortiz gets aboard here. Look, honestly, a lot of times Brad Cox is going to use Florent Giroux in this spot, and I don't like that. But I love that Irad gets aboard. I think Irad gets this horse out of the gate. I think she gets a really, really good position on the rail. Wouldn't be surprised if she's on the lead. I think she's going to take him gate to wire. Give me the number 2, Alpine Princess, the 7th race at Churchill Downs on Saturday.
See, I think Royal Spa is the horse that goes to the lead. And as far as I know, she's still in this race. And if I think she's going to go gate to wire. Same idea. I think one of the 2 does. I think it's the 3 Royal Spa that goes gate to wire. I wouldn't be shocked if the 2 gets the lead, but Irad will need to be aggressive here. Mile and a 16th to Churchill for everyone out there who does not know. Short finish line. You want to be speed, right? And that's why we're both talking about the 2 horses that are going to be forwardly placed. So they finish at the 16th pole. So you don't have a lot of time to close in the stretch. It generally favors horses that want to be forwardly placed. So Aaron, second best bet here, the number 2 Alpine Princess. Saturday, race number 7, the Phasic Tipton Lowcast Grove. A grade 2 race there, Aaron. Nice pick there. $400,000. I am going to go to race number 10 on Saturday. $300,000 stakes race, the Louis Bred Thoroughbred Society race. 6 furlongs on the dirt. Give me the horse on the rail, the number 1 world record, who likes Churchill Downs quite a bit. 4 races, 2 wins, 1 second, 1 third. Likes the distance as well. 6 for 6, hitting the board with 2 W's. The race 3 back, very much enough to win this race. The race 2 back went way too fast early. 20-4, 44-3 to the half. I don't think we're going to need to go that fast. Roll on Big Joe, the only other horse with speed right to the outside here, and I think World Record quite a bit better than Roll on Big Joe. World Record also showed the ability to stalk a little bit multiple times in the career, including a win over at Keeneland going this distance. Your favorite's going to be Ben Tornado, and this horse is coming off a very long layoff. Last time we saw Ben Tornado was the Breeders' Cup Sprint, where it was running second at 28 to 1. Respect this horse. Not really interested in this one off that long of a layoff. So give me the number 1 horse, World Record, Churchill Downs, race number 10, 4 to 1 on the board, Aaron.
I love that pick. That'll be my top pick as well in that race. Really, really got mad at that horse 2 races back in the Aristides there at Churchill Downs. I had him singled that day. I really liked him. And you knew he was going to get caught. He was going so fast. He gutted it out, though, and almost got it done. And look, I didn't pick him in the Bing Crosby, but I thought he ran okay. He ran 3rd, but I thought that was a pretty good effort. Like that pick. I think this horse will run well.
I love it, man. A good show from you, my friend. That was a nice little episode of VSiN at the Track. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review over on Apple or Spotify. If you're watching at VSiN Live, thanks for watching us and checking out what we look like, because I'm sure many of you may want to know. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel as well so you get any updates here from VSiN at the Track. Aaron, excellent show. Good luck this weekend at the track. Make sure if you're betting, head over to firstbet.com, promo code VSiN250, get $250 bonus. I know Aaron's going to sign up for his wife to make sure he gets that $250 bonus, so make sure you sign up over there as well, and good luck at the track.
This is VSiN at the Track.